today, back on our 79 C10 we picked up earlier this year, and as you can see by the thumbnail, we are going to be swapping motors in it over probably 2 week to a month period of time. But anyway, getting into it, well, our first video on this truck, you go back and watch, it was kind of just a rundown of when we bought it, what all we've done to it till that point, and we put these new wheels and tires on it. It's new 8-inch rally wheels. If we had them, we just cleaned them up, painted them, put new tires on them, got it running and driving at that time, but which is part of our problem now. Anyway, getting into the motor here. This is just a Goodwrench 350 replacement motor, but what had happened when we put the transmission in it earlier this year, our starter was it was broke or something.
The nose of the starter had broke.
Yeah, it cracked in almost 2 pieces, and so we just thought, throw a starter on it and be good to go. And when we got into it, we had found out one of the bolts had been broken out, and they welded a stud up there. So one of them was an actual bolt, and the other one you just had to put a nut on, which it didn't last. When we put the new starter back on it, it cranked it about 3 times, and then it started grinding. And so we tapped the hole, put a new bolt in it, and then did about the same time. We cranked it about 3 times, and then it done it again. So we're just going to solve all problems here and just swap the motor out. And we've been wanting to paint this motor anyway, so this is pretty much the identical motor to this. I'm going to say the one in the truck is probably a little bit older than this one here. I'm thinking this is a late
70s?
No, I think late 80s. Mid to late 80s motor. This one was bought. I'm going to say that one was late 70s, early 80s when that was bought, because the valve covers are, I don't know this for sure, but these are different. The sticker on them are different colors. I don't know if that means the year on them are different or what, but anyway.
But this is not the valve covers we're going to be running on this motor. We actually got a set of Billet Specialties valve covers here that we went ahead and painted and striped up there.
Which we were going to just run normal, just small block strip valve covers on them.
You had to run valve covers with the PCV in them, and the regular script valve covers don't have the holes in them for that, so that was our only option for script valve covers with a hole.
Good, I like them. So anyway, we're going to get started on this. It's going to be broken down in 2 parts though, videos. Our first one's going to be pulling this motor out, and then we're going to go in here, clean all this stuff up in here.
Clean up the inner fenders, probably paint them.
We'll drop the inner fenders, paint them, paint all the accessory drive. We're probably going to paint all this top of this radiator support right here. And we're questioning it now. We'll probably end up repainting the inside in here. But I mean, we usually start with something and then go kind of overboard with it.
Yeah, we usually get carried away, so
who knows what it's going to look like when we get done. So anyway, with that being said, we're going to get started with it here and get this thing out. Alright, we're back, day 2, pulling the motor out. We got caught up in some other stuff the other day, we had to stop. So we got most of the front stuff up here out. Got the radiator, most of the accessory drive off there. All we like up front here is the carburetor at this point. Up top, we still like some stuff underneath the truck. Got to pull the manifolds off from the exhaust and a few of the transmission lines, and then we'll get this thing ready to come out.
Alright, we've got the transmission cross member out and the motor mounts out down there, and it's time to yank this thing out.
That's right. Got the exhaust loose, got the transmission cross member loose, everything underneath it has been took off, and all we left to do now is pull the motor.
as y'all just seen, we got the motor pulled out.
And really the only problem that it gave us was that one manifold bolt on that side. We had to heat it up, and other than that, I mean, everything else come out as it should. As far as what we're gonna do next, we gotta get down to the other shop and then start cleaning all this up down here, and then decide what all we're gonna paint and go from there. So we'll see you tomorrow. We just took the inner fenders out. We already have them at the body shop, and they're pretty close to being painted now. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing pulled down there. It's about to get dark, so we're gonna get to it. As you seen, we got it in the shop after a little problem. Our chain come undone right when we hit the driveway here, but we was like 30 foot from the driveway, so it was no big deal. But anyway, got it in here, pulled the wheels off the front. We just didn't want to risk getting anything of what we're going to spray on there and messing those wheels up. We just redone them a couple months ago, so done that, put it on jack stands, and we're about to clean all this stuff up. We're going to actually spray it down today, come back in the morning and spray everything off, let it sit overnight. Was you going to show the inner fenders?
Oh yeah. Stripped them down, got all the paint off of them, and treated them with acid earlier today. And their cleaner there, and they'll be ready to sand and paint.
Other than that, they're going back black, as along with all this other stuff in here.
And the top of the radiator support and all that.
Except for the inner fenders, well, the inside of the fenders.
And the firewall.
Firewall, and probably will stop our paint up somewhere through here. We'll end up pulling this glass out.
As you can see, it is cracked. Putting new glass in it.
But anyway, we're gonna get this stuff sprayed down and be back in the morning. Alright, we're back next day. About to spray the frame off. Got it all degreased. Sorry for the background noise. Kind of getting her done over there, but anyway, today main objective: spray the frame off, clean up the inside of the fenders and the firewall, and start prepping for paint. So. Something else before anybody else says it, that wiring up there.
Oh yeah.
This wire is just to hold the other wires up, and then this wire was
done by the previous owner. This was ran to the starter, and they installed a nice push button on this thing. So.
Right there, push button, something in the.
But we will be taking care of that. So. We got her all sprayed off, as y'all seen, and it didn't get everything off. It still left behind a little bit of the old paint and some of the grease, so we went ahead and sprayed it down one more time, soaked it, and yeah.
Just gonna let it sit there and try to get the rest of what's left on it off, and then other than that, we'll just have to scrape the rest of it off. That's about to wrap this one up. On our next one, we're gonna be coming in here and painting everything, so stay tuned for that. And after it's painted, we'll get it back up to the other shop and get the motor sitting back in it, and then try to get it fired up. So, well, that's gonna wrap this one up, and we'll see you on the next one.